Like, intro music, intro music, intro music, intro music.
They're always going to start so abruptly. I'm just laughing at my own little 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody.
Hey, we've got my intro music. The intro music makes it not abrupt. Did you not hear my melodious tones?
They were mellifluous, melodious tones. Hey, everybody. It's Propspective. We just finished our chugs, which we're going to post on the website because Dan hadn't, or the website, fucking Facebook, because Dan hasn't posted a chug yet. And yeah, we just, of course, in our penultimate professionalism, are drinking more beer and just starting off randomly. So, cool. Hey, Dan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. My chug was, about 20% alcohol, and I just went boom. So
Yeah, you were a champ.
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm, mine was, it was water, it was 5%, but I'm well on my way. I got a few. So today we are going to be talking about the name of the episode. First of all, is Ready, Ready, Up, which is the signal that I'm going to get winded whilst running on the rugby pitch. Because apparently I get winded immediately after people say that because I got to run around. But
I think rugby should just be a sport where we just sort of walk and then hit things. I mean, it sounds perfect to me.
We've been given license. I know this, to just sort of walk around.
You're not supposed to tell the other positions that, okay?
It's a prop secret where they're like, hey, he's all right, the scrum, and he can lift. We'll just hold out for a sec, and you're constantly talking to the scrummy about slowing down the game a little bit, and he's like, no. But yeah, so we're talking relations. It's good. We're talking between the scrummy and the props, so we'll talk about intra team relationships within the team and from the team without, because rugby is a game of relationships, really.
One of the great things about rugby is it's such a team game in a way that a lot of other team games aren't. If you think of a lot of, especially the American team sports like baseball and American football, they are very much like you have this position. And while you definitely depend on your teammates, it's much more of a sort of like you can replace that team with kind of anyone. Like that, the first baseman needs to be able to catch the ball thrown to him. Like what your style is at throwing the ball doesn't really impact them that much. Same thing with American football. You have your offensive tackle who just needs to be there. You need, okay, yes, there's definitely needs to be some coordination between the receivers and the quarterback for throws. They need to know which way the guy is probably going to go. But like a lot of the other positions, especially as a prop, where they would just look at me and be like, you are now an offensive tackle because you are almost 400 pounds.
Right. Can you physically exert yourself for 10 seconds? Okay. You got to play.
Just, smash your head into them because no one cares about concussions anymore.
What are you complaining
about? And, really, I could be replaced by pretty much anyone of, like the same skill. And it's the same. Rugby is very, very different. You need to really understand how your team works, how your fellow players work, where they're going to be, how they're going to react. And you need to really know, like, okay, this is happening, which means this is probably happening. So I need to go over there and do that. And while certainly, at relatively high level play, there's just sort of like psychic coordination that sometimes happens, which is really cool. When you're playing with another team, you're like, I see this happening. This means this is probably going to happen. I go over here. Ha-ha, I was right.
That is
it's really fun when you just you never played with people before and you just have this sort of psychic connection. But sometimes you also think you have the psychic connection and then you're really wrong. You're like, oh shit.
It's true. And you're like, as I've distinct memories of not like unknowingly being in a pod formation, like they had formed behind me and everything was set up perfectly. If I knew what the fuck I was doing and like where I was spatially, it would have been amazing. We would have crashed through. Like I inadvertently set up right for the gap. Like it was great. And I just I remember standing there and I look over and I'm like, oh, that ball's coming at me. And then I watched it just fly by me. And it was a perfectly delivered pass too. Like it wasn't a hospital pass. Right? And I'm like, fuck. And then I see the guys behind me and I'm just like, yeah, okay. So I definitely fucked that up. So it goes both ways. But you're absolutely right. You have to spend, and a lot of it comes down to spending time with your team and going to practices. You need to have those guys who show up. I've been one of them who show up maybe on Thursdays and then, just kind of do your thing. But you can't, ultimately, if your team want to, get better through the season and to win, you have to spend the time with the people, because you're absolutely right. It is such a team sport. It's everyone is a cog and an important part of it. And if one's out, you can kind of compensate, but it gets real weird real fast if you don't.
Yeah.
So, no, it's definitely, and building up that sort of psychic knowledge too. Again, it's spending time with the guys, getting to know them too. Like, there's always some guy who's gonna be like, his deal is he just sprints and never passes, or the guy who always passes, even though he's like wide, he's got a gap, like it's miles wide. He's like, no, I'm gonna pass it. Granted, it's a great pass, but it's not, no one's expecting him to do that. I have definitely been, maybe not the passing guy, because I typically, once I get a hold of the ball, I just run.
You're forward. That's what you're supposed to do.
Run
If
straight.
you pass, you fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. I get tackled. Hopefully, I'll offload nicely, and then as I'm getting off the ground, I see I have a scrum that's across the pitch, and I got to jog over to that, which sort of brings us back to that whole, yeah, they let you jog it up. That's fine. Sure, it's like 5 minutes into the game, but yeah, getting to know the guys is so key, and yeah, like, it's such a team sport. And I've been trying to explain, and I do go on. Feel free to interrupt me, buddy. But I do. I've been trying to explain to people too, and like, you can't have a guy hot dog it, like, you can, but nothing happens, right?
The hot dogger, I can sometimes make a fantastic play, break through the enemy line, and score. Or sometimes they'll be like, I'm alone, get tackled, and then you lose the ball, and the other team has it, and then they just fucked up. It's a lot of times it's better to have someone who is not very good than the hot dogger, because the not very good person will have support and will not lose the ball. And while certainly, the hot dogger might sometimes break through and score tries, sometimes they just might end up screwing you over. So it's you have to be the hot dogger who's aware of the teammates and aware of their support, and really knows exactly when to be the hot dog. Exactly when to become that quasi meat substitute with lots of like gluten and filler in it.
I like it.
I don't understand why he's a hot dog. Why is it a hot dogger? I don't know.
Yeah. What happened where a hot dog's so special that a hot dog is what we call someone who's just like going out? I don't know. Is it named after the hot dog that fell out of your bun and was ultimately disappointing after a thrill ride of you trying to catch this hot dog? I don't know, man.
So, that just makes me remember the most traumatic thing that happened when I was a child. I really wanted this hot dog, and even though there are lots of them, this was the one I wanted. I went to eat, and it slipped out of my hand, and before it even hit the ground, the dog went flop and ate it, and I was inconsolable. Like, just there was not like the fact that there were other identical hot dogs could not console me. No, I wanted that one, and the dog.
It was your dog. And what's crazy about that is you don't even get the chance to like mourn the loss of the hot dog by seeing it on the ground. It's just gone. It's just gone. And I totally, again, we're brothers, man. I totally understand this sense of loss. and you're stunned. I had the same thing. I was in college and I was staying up all night, and there was like a McDonald's nearby the college. So we went and got McDonald's at like fucking 3 a.m. And because, we're building good habits, building prop habits. And we come back, and Celeste, who, bless her heart, was such a nice, very friendly girl. I go to the bathroom, and I had like maybe 7 stale French fries left. And I was fucking looking forward to those stale French fries. I left, I came back, and they were gone, man. She had eaten them. And I love how this whole thing is digressed to this, but she had eaten them. And apparently it looked like I was going to kill her. I was beside myself with rage and grief. And I mean, clearly, again, I'm a prop. But again, beside myself. I didn't speak to her for the rest of the night, which thankfully was only like 6 hours long, before we had to hand in this project. But dude, yeah, it's like that. But you know what? It's like that. Oof. Burping. It's like that when you to try and tenuously bring this back to rugby.
No, see, I was going to bring it back to rugby because it's like, so for those of you who don't know, anytime props get together, the conversation immediately goes to food.
Inevitably.
If you hadn't noticed, props like food. That's why we're props.
It's so true. Yeah, like to try and bring it, to try and tenuously bring it. Okay, so there's this dude walking by, and I see him walking by. This guy, like, I'm constantly trying to recruit for literally any team. And I see it, he walks by daily around this time. He would be an amazing prop. I'm like, dude. Anyways, I'm gonna holler out the window at one point, but that's a whole other.
To bring this back to the topic. Oh wait, tangent. Squirrel.
What a bird. No, but yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing though. Like that mentality of where we cherish something and then it's gone. You can definitely see that happening on a pitch when a prop gets a ball, he doesn't want to pass it, and he's going for it. And then it either like, oh my God, heaven forbid it knocks on, or because that does happen. I know we say, you know, backs knock it on. I have definitely fucking bricks and balls. If that's even a term.
Yeah, but you have the hair of a back, so
it's looking good today. You can't. Yeah, it's.
I mean, I can't deny it. You look like a back. You know, it's just like with that hair. It's like, yeah, no wonder you knock on the ball.
Super slow back.
So one thing you need to know about intra-team relations is all the best players and all the best people are forwards and backs are trash. And that's really all there is to the subject. So like, podcast over, right? We're done.
Yeah, button it up. We're fucking. That's not the hands. Come on, we know that's not true. We know a gentle ribbing. But also, I swear to God, if I work crazy hard to fucking secure that ball and I see it get knocked on the other side of the field, and but I don't know, man. Here's the thing. It just lets us scrum some more. And so, I mean, you can't be mad, you know? It's when it gets kicked back. And then you're like, I got a fucking line out back over by my, you know, by my 20. That's when it is kind of annoying. But, I mean, you know, you can't.
And then you start walking there and be like, okay, I need time to get energy back. They're like, come on, we got to do the line out. I'm like, bitch, I'm almost 400 pounds. Give me a second.
Motherfucker, do you not see the hands on my head? Just sucking in breath. Yeah, no. Oh my God, I swear to God, when that happens, drives me insane. But
see, the backs do have a really important use on the rugby pitch, though.
Of course.
When you like find the skinniest wing and you stand beside him, you look even bigger and more imposing.
It's true. You gotta like. So let's say you know that first like 5 minutes where everything, you know, the captains talk to the ref or whatever, and you guys are shuffling onto the field, and you're walking up. You got to time it right so that as a thing of scale, right, you're always beside the skinniest, fastest back or whatever.
Exactly.
Like monster. Oh, doesn't always work out like in like real life. Like I remember when we were over at we were down in Brockville. We were always Brockville, yeah, the Privateers, right? They're always so fun to play. And I remember one game it was super hot, like super fucking hot. But we were walking up over to our practice area, and a couple of the guys were like, "Oh, they got some big guys," and we're like, "Yeah, fuck yeah!" But like they're a very fit team. It doesn't matter how big we are, man. They ran all over us. Like they just ran circles.
Yeah, when we hit them good.
This is true. The flat thud sound is tremendous, and I mean you got to live for that too, right? But I mean it's
yeah.
It's 30 people on a pitch, man. It's wild. 31, I guess.
But you know he usually doesn't get into the contact, although when he does,
it's true. Yeah, and those guys are in short supply, eh? Like,
yeah.
Your ref is difficult in the EORU, which, by the way, I rattled off. I remember that we were in the EORU, my friend.
I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I learned something. But no, apparently
someone listened to me. Someone listened to me.
Well, yeah, apparently, like it's very hard to find people to ref games, and I get it. Like it's few and far between, and there's like liability or some shit like that. Like, God, it's also not an easy job.
It is not. I mean, you get a lot of hate for it. Even, you know, like especially because you're not like a super huge great ref. You just played rugby, and you generally like you're getting older. You want to like I want to still get involved in rugby,
Yeah.
but I'm too old to play. Okay, I'll be a ref. And you try and do the best you can, and then people are just like, ref, come on. And you have to like look at like 7 different things at once because there's the ball over there. Then some people are fighting over there, and then there's some asshole causing a disturbance over there. How are you supposed to watch all 3 things at once?
Oh, yeah.
And you can't. And so you're just going to be like, this is why, like professionals have like multiple, like actually like some of the best refs as linesmen. So they can be like, oh,
Yeah,
well, we're
right.
seeing this. But your linesmen are just some people who are like,
They're
I guess
literally in
I'll do the
proximity.
flag.
Yeah, they were
Don't
literally
even,
walking by. I've been a linesman because I was walking by, and I'm like, man, I don't know how to do this.
you,
Sure, I gotta lift a flag with this arm, and then the ref's like, "Are you sure it's that arm?" I'm like, "Fuck no, man! I don't even know. I'm like 7 beers deep. I already played my game. I'm exhausted. I don't know what I'm doing." But absolutely no one else will be a linesman. So like, okay, I guess. But you're
so
right.
yeah.
They don't even have a TMO. They can't even do the cool TMO hand thing that I'm miming right now. Can you
But
imagine a fucking
so
TMO?
like as part of relations, we should also have inter-ref relations because one thing you can do is you can sleep with the ref the night before the game to get him on your side.
There
Because
you go.
I know some people who've done that.
I think I've played in a few games where I'm like, wow, this is going really well. And like, yeah, like there's like secret calls happen. There have been
Usually it's
secret
not
calls.
like overt favoritism, but sort of like that guy made me feel really good last night. I'll let this one slide. It's like well that wasn't just like it wasn't really penalties if it's just on the edge.
I was
It's
just
like
on the cusp,
well,
right? Like it was just,
it's like
you know.
do I not? You just remember he gave really good head, and then you just move. By that time the play's moved on, you're like, oh well, it's too late to call now, so I guess I can't.
And there you go, buddy.
We humans are really good at rationalizing things we want to. Uh,
Yeah, no, we're good at doing that. Oh, man.
um,
Refs.
Yeah, I have not slept with a ref before a game or even after a game. I don't think I've ever slept with a ref. So this is clearly something that I need to do as my life continues.
Well,
Like
and
one
that's
of
just
the
it,
quintessential rugby experiences I'm missing. Uh,
there is a like there's a the whole rugby experience, I guess now, right? Where it's just new facets. But again, as the game progresses and you get older, uh, new opportunities open up. Let's just say
mhm.
for you to help your team, man. That's all about
I
team sport.
Most of the people I've recruited for the team are people I have slept with. Uh, so
Hey,
so
man, it works. Okay.
I'd say like a good like 50% of the people that I've recruited are people like I've definitely hooked up with first.
Okay, but how is that like, it's been chill afterwards? Like, they've been like, yeah, what else? Or has there been like some weird shit happening? Or does, people are people, right? So like they got
Yeah.
emotions and you get people all over the team with all sorts of kinds of emotions.
With me, there has not really been much drama. I have thankfully have not had that much drama with my exes in my life, or even just with sexual partners.
Okay, well,
Um, the,
uh-huh.
the the most difficult part of like drama is like one of my exes transitioned, and I always know her as her name, her dead name that she used when
Right.
dating me. But like, I don't want to dead name her because that's really insensitive.
Yeah,
But at
that's
the
like
same time,
super.
like we haven't really been much in touch since she transitioned. So I'm always like, what's her name? And like, she's not on Facebook. I can't look up her name. I don't want to reference her by a dead name. But at the same time, like, I don't know what to reference her by because I don't know any other.
Right.
And it's really complicated. And that's like the extent of my like ex drama.
Fair enough. Well, you know what? I think you've done well then. I think that's okay. Yeah, like it's the mail. I've ordered. Oh, speaking of mail, so I just looked out my window and got fucking distracted again. Uh, my QC4 quarantine ruggers for chugger thing, my merch has finally shipped. And Dan, if you have not seen, speaking of relationships, this is hilarious. If you have not seen the the drama about on this Facebook page about where our merch is, I was supremely disappointed that my merch was in the second shipping. Which fair, whatever, man, I get it. but also I want my
It's the
stuff.
fate of props. They're always the afterthought.
Oh, it's okay.
It's
No,
like, okay,
it wasn't their
how
fault.
many times I've been like, hey, I want team shorts too. And they're like, oh, okay, we got team shorts. All of these are too small. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you can take the
but
fucking extra large that fits over maybe your knee, right? I've been there. There's a reason I get the shorts with the elasto crotch because
I mean, one time they tried special ordering shorts for me, and I'm like, I wear the triple XLs from Canterbury with the elasto crotch. They fit perfectly. They allow me full mobility, and they're not like baggy. And I'm like, perfect, get those. And they got triple XLs from Canterbury, which are theoretically very similar, which do not fit at all.
dude, no, and it's so funny. Like, okay, so speaking, this is specifically, I'm gonna reach over here, and I got so Canterbury shorts, right? I have some like right here. These 4XLs, right? Like that's seemingly fucking huge, and they got like the elasto crotch, which is great. But they're a little tight. Whereas my 3XLs from Samurai, I think the ones that I wear like from the Indians, oh, they fit great. Like, it's so, oh, you can't fucking tell. And I mean, bless their heart, a good sized prop is not going to get shorts from the team. But anyways, these shorts, I can't knock it. I got 2 pair for $15 each. I mean, what, you can't. But back to Kit, my stuff shipped from Paladin, which is great. I actually emailed them and they were super polite. So shout out, props to Paladin for just sticking on it. I know they got like a bunch of drunk people with a bunch of clothing orders who are so pissed, but they're getting it out. It's fine. Okay. That website actually has some pretty amazing like merch from other teams too, which is super cool to just see, their merch. There was one that was like a whole matching kit from, I'd never heard of Pig Athletic, which, touch a certain heartstrings. But it's like a really nice full kit where you get like a jersey. Let's face it, jerseys for props like our size, they never fit, right? Like they never ever fit. My gut's always hanging out, man.
I mean, I have had some that fit well. I don't know. Saying,
Never
like,
me, man, never me.
part of the difficulty is they very rarely make things for people our size
True.
who are almost 400 pounds, but also have a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And so I found like for dress shirts, I have to buy slim fits, and I'm like, but I'm fat. They're like, yes.
Yeah, how does that work? Yeah, no, I have the same thing because we got like big old shoulders, right? And we got big old guts, but we have huge shoulders. And so like we're still vaguely V-shaped, just like weirdly vaguely V-shaped.
Look, guys, I mean, I think I'm just much more like refrigerator shaped. Because you are what you eat, right? And
right?
I eat everything in the refrigerator, so I look like a refrigerator.
We are definitely heavier than your average refrigerator. I actually looked this up because someone's like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "I got hit by a fridge," and I'm like, "Well, actually, you got hit by something a little heavier than a fridge, buddy." Apparently, your average fridge only weighs 250 pounds, which is astonishing. Also, maybe we do like fridge lifting sessions or something, because that would be amazing.
I mean, if it's only 250 pounds, how do we get a workout out of that?
Dude, right? Like, it's not even a deadlift. Come on. But maybe, maybe you do like the strongman where you're like, your hands are all over it. You're trying to like, maybe some food falls out in my mouth as I'm trying to wrestle this fridge. But, it's fun. So what the fuck were we talking about?
So we're talking about inter-team relations.
Inter-team relations. Okay, so
and
between teams.
Intra-team relations as well. And we were talking about like, jerseys and how they never fit us, right? Because we're both muscular and fat, which is the build that no one accepts exists except for props, which is why I almost never sleep with anyone except outside of the front row. I once slept with the block. It was very exciting and new.
It's just like climbing a mountain. So tall.
I don't tell anyone, but I actually once slept with a flanker, so it's like, whoa, like that's almost a back. I felt cheated.
Yeah. So athletic. So athletic. But yeah, so inter team, right? So between teams, I don't know, man. It's kind of fun. Like we have a thing we're gonna talk about the third half, but we're not talking in this episode. We had a whole episode for that one where we try to figure out how to. It'll just evolve to us drink. Oh my god, dude, we should drink like crazy on that. Anyways, okay, so blah.
I mean, if I get drunk, I am going to be even louder and more obnoxious, and I'm already pretty loud and obnoxious. So
I have been shouting at the screen. I always just shout at the screen. My poor fucking neighbors above me and below me. They get no respite.
that is how you make an energetic podcast. You scream. More energy.
Yeah. But gassy. But yeah, so some teams are known as being the teams. Sorry, I'm like fucking burping nonstop here. Some teams are known for being like great entertainers in the third half. Like I know the Wolves were renowned for that as well. I know Brockville was very good at it. So same with Atlanta. You know, honestly, actually, all of them are generally really, really good. And Cornwall,
except for like the teams that would like not actually do the third half, like the Blues. Often the Blues would just be like, "Yeah, good game, bye, bitches."
Yeah. Well, you know what? They ran. They work hard. They work hard on that game. We save a little energy. But no, you're absolutely right. Like they don't not so much do that. But yeah, but like I was saying, even Cornwall, who had like 6 guys, those diehard 6 dudes. They came out, they drank with us. It was great. Yeah, and like you said, I think in the last podcast too, Muddy York. Dude, I miss fucking Beaver Bowl. I miss that tournament. That was always a good time. And I'm kind of bummed this year. Like, I know this year was supposed to be a Bingham year as well, but because of, COVID and everything, it's been postponed. And I got to not say canceled, but postponed. But I miss the Beaver Bowl because that was a party time, man. That was great.
That's so great. I mean, considering we're allowed, Rugby Canada is okay practicing now. Beaver Bowl might be on as sort of like we're allowed to play games now, and it's like the beginning of September. Let's just do a Beaver Bowl. Like that'll be our one game for the season. I'd be down for that.
I'd be up for that too because nobody's been practicing. That's Caleb's time to shine, man.
I've been running at least twice a week, and it's sad prop shuffling, but we have another episode about the prop shuffle, so I'm not going to get too much into that. Just I'll just give you the brief overview. There's a thing that props do where your legs no longer have the power to actually propel you forward because it takes a lot of power because we're fat.
Dude, like you tried moving a fucking 400-pound sledge. Like it's crazy.
And then you're just sort of like your feet are barely lifting off the ground. You're sort of trying to go semi-fast still, and so it's just this sort of like shuffle where your feet just like slowly lift above the ground, and then you go forward as far as you can, and then just when you're about to fall over, your foot hits the ground again, and then you do the same thing with the other foot, and it's this very laborious, complicated thing that makes you look like you're kind of moving fast even when you're not.
You know what? That's the best description of that I think I've ever heard. Excuse me. Oh, I think I've ever heard. And most accurate. It's true. Like the prop shuffle is an art. And I'm clinking my beer bottles here. I got a lineup. But
you can always tell an amateur prop who is like new to being a prop when they just sort of like do a walk or they like they're trying to run in proper form and they're not making very much sense. Like amateur.
Amateur. Yeah, because the prop shuffle, man, it's not like speed-wise. It's basically a walk. It's like a slow saunter.
It's like a walk plus.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
A walk 2.0.
Yeah. On the way to the line out. It's always a line out too, man. That's when you can get the most air. Because like there's weird scrums have a certain intensity like to get to them. I feel where I'm like, oh, I gotta, because it's a little more intense. Whereas a line out, you're just like, it's cool. I'm shuffling my way over there. You're looking see the other side's prop. He's kind of shuffle. You guys have an understanding.
You know? Yes, that is an important part of inter-team relations. Making sure you're good with the other prop, so you can both go slowly and both get time to breathe. A+. It's
so true. It's so true. But you know what? And it's like, and it always goes back, and I always love it. I love those little moments in the scrum, right before everyone packs in. You just got that little chit chat, little laughter. You're both looking at each other like, "Fuck yeah, I'm tired, buddy." Before you absolutely destroy each other. But it's true. Yeah, making friends with the other props and we're friendly sorts. We have an understanding. We know.
We
You
do.
know.
We do.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Unless you get one of those teams with like the prop who's like barely bigger than like the rest of their players, you got like a 200-pound prop, and they're all like, they're so easy to destroy in the scrums. They're so easy to destroy in the rucks, but fuck, you just have no time to breathe. Just
Yeah.
like, this is illegal. Give me another fat prop, please.
You're already there. Fuck off. Yeah. And yeah, it is fun to pretzel them. You know, like it is fun to like watch them fold a bit. But I guess that's the new type of prop, man. That's like the what do they call it? The mobile prop now is like the super, and I mean, you hardly see anyone who's like a big like that dude's a prop nowadays in like professional rugby for sure. Like it's sort of getting homogenous. England has always been like different-ish, I think, because they usually have some big dudes, but
I mean, at the professional level, you can definitely like. It makes sense because rugby is a sport of running, and
right.
at the professional level, like, I mean, yes, eating does help us get more, raw power, and we all love to eat. I think we actually have like eating is one of our topics.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. It's like eating. Yeah, you can't outrun a bad diet. So like as we're props in part because we love eating, we love being big guys, we love just that sort of like the feeling of power. And some will have various different reasons between that. But like, and yeah, like my squat is 565 pounds, and it's hard to get a squat that big when you are tiny.
Dude, that's insane.
Uh, so there's definitely power, but like you don't have to be almost 400 pounds to squat that much. Like if you look at people who are professional strongmen, a lot of them are smaller than I am, and they can out squat me. You don't need to be almost 400 pounds to squat that much, and so you really want that good balance between like like you have that raw power, but you also have the speed, so you can run for more than 20 minutes. As I've got like right here over my shoulder 20-minute hero, because like that's as much as I've got. I like good high quality like speedy rugby. I've got 20 minutes and then I'm done.
It's true, 20 minutes and then done. But we never have substitutes, like or the substitute is me. And I'm like, fuck dude, I'm already tired from the last 20 minutes and I'm already seasoned up on the sidelines here.
Like I am much stronger as a prop than I was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, my best squat was only like 450 pounds, and like so like today I could beat myself from 5 years ago in most scrums, in most rucks, but myself from 5 years ago was a lot faster and probably a better rugby player. But I also acknowledge like I'm getting older. It's like I'm 37 now. I'm not going to be. I'm like past my peak significantly. If I were a professional rugby player, I would have had to retire like a couple years ago. 35 is about like where it is.
Yeah.
So I have to accept that, but it's also I've just kept on putting on weight because I didn't really care. It's like I want to get big and strong. I like being big and strong, and so yeah, it is true that if you look at a lot of high level rugby, props are smaller than you're often going to get in amateur rugby, where you have people who just eat everything and like what diet.
But then there's also the guys like Tad Furlong, right? That guy's a fucking monster, but he's actually not that big. I keep looking up these dudes' weights and I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously? I'm this much big? Like I can't scale things to me anymore because it doesn't matter. Like, okay, so my son plays rugby and he is 225 pounds at about 5'9", I think, and you wouldn't tell he's that weight, right? And then you see guys like Terry Crews or whatever, right? Like that guy's a monster at 6'4", but he's like a tight 245. And so I'm like, okay, so we got the density. Like my family has the density. Dan, you have the density. Like that's what I call it. And my son has the density. Now my son is like the mobile prop though. Like he plays prop, which is great, but he could definitely do like a solid number 10. He's actually been a scrummy, a terrifying scrummy in sevens. He plays sevens at that weight. It's wild at his age too, man. But anyways, enough about him. I'm super proud. But like I can't gauge these people sizes, like prop sizes and stuff. And so but you do know when you do pack in with a guy who's got like, there was a guy on Kingston who was like super dense. He's about an inch or two taller than us, and he was a prop. And oh God, he must have weighed he must have had at least 50 pounds on us. But he was pretty fast. He was pretty mobile. I had never scrummed against someone like that. It was like a fucking wall, man. Like, he was insane. I remember that game. That game was that was the photo from the post of our first podcast where you and me are just happily being props. He was in that game, and I remember him like skillfully bearing down on me and just like fucking crushing me in that scrum. But yeah. Oh, also there was another dude who was a back who took a dive into my knee because I was lazily trying to get a ball and like a leading knee first to try and maybe jump on this thing. And he was after it, and he hit his head on my knee. Poor guy. He was out. He was done for the season, I think.
I mean, yeah, head into knee, that's one of the worst things.
Fuck, that was
concussions are no joke. Like I will talk shit about a lot of rugby injuries and like, whatever, I'll play through this.
Yeah,
concussions, no.
Yeah,
brain is
fuck with those things, man. Yeah, like, it's crazy.
If I get like a fucked up back for the rest of my life, whatever. Like I have video games. I can just get fat and play video games. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, my brain is fucked up. Like you can't even enjoy video games anymore. Right? Like you just like get ups. Like people. I know people who got 200 concussions. They no longer have any control over their emotions because they just like that ability to like sort of like process and restrain and just sort of like breathe and let it out and just not let the emotions hijack you. Just completely gone. And that's.
Well, I see that in a bunch of old boys games too, man. Like I'll see them playing, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's a lot of rage. That's a lot of rage. That seems a little misplaced there, brother." But maybe because these fellas, they come from a time that before overly a lot of understanding about concussions was talked about. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm like 3 beers in. I'm definitely not making it.
No, it's true. I mean, like, even American football is slowly starting to change now. Because American football is the worst for concussions. Because you have that big helmet, which protects you in some ways, but doesn't protect you from concussions. And then you just, like, start using it as a weapon, smashing people with the helmet.
I can't believe they teach that. They teach you to spear a fucking dude with your head.
I know. That is the worst thing for you. This is why, like, American football is so much more dangerous than rugby. American football grew out of rugby as an attempt to make it safer. And so doing, they made it more dangerous because pads will let you hit harder because you can pad all the parts you're going to hit with, but pads don't really protect your joints all that well. And that's the part where you're going to break.
Exactly right.
So
like,
you get hit harder.
Yeah.
Rucks are dangerous because everyone's fighting over the ball. So they got rid of rucks and replaced it with, once you're down, it's like a down. What does that mean? Now is that you don't have to control the person afterwards. You don't have to like get the ball afterwards. You can just go full tilt because there's no play after you make that tackle, so that you don't need to get back up. You don't need to put yourself back into it. You just go full on to tackle. Once again, making the tackle more dangerous. All these things that attempted to make rugby safer and in fact made it more dangerous. And that's the history of American football. And, looking at America right now, it's sort of like that's the history of America.
On our other podcast, I'm trying to think of like a clever football name, but I don't fucking know anything about football. But yeah, yeah, it's so true. It's that sort of like it's a weird dichotomy between the seeming reduction of danger, but it increases in like some weird inverse proportion, and you're like, okay, what the hell? Yeah,
consequences are complicated.
Right? Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Oh man!
For those you listening at home, I know that wasn't that profound, but we're both drunk enough that it felt like it.
Yeah, let our emotional wonder translate across the airways here, and just sort of like envelop you in this flowery haze of awe. Fuck yeah! Listen to that.
Cheers.
Cheers to that, brother. Oh yeah, I got a lineup of bottles now. I don't know if you hear it clinking and stuff, but I'm definitely running through those. What are we talking about?
We're talking about, team relations, inter-team and intra-team. We haven't talked all that much about it. I've gone through like several of my talking points despite that, though. I have a couple other talking points that I can talk about.
Point away, my friend. Point away. This is
All
where
right, we need
I
to keep
definitely
talking.
talk to you.
No, I think that one of the things that makes rugby so fantastic is the fact that you can like be charging into each other, smashing into each other at full force, try your best to twist them into a pretzel and make them hurt. And then after the game, you just start swapping injury tales, be like, oh, this time you got me right here. Oh, I'm still hurting from it. And they tell you how they're still hurting too. It's really like
So nice.
cathartic and fantastic. And I'd be really sad if rugby lost that. Because that's what
It's so
makes rugby to me. Um, really having fantastic relations with the other team and just sort of like celebrating, playing together, and destroying each other together. Um,
because that's what you do. That's what you do
yeah,
after basically, yeah, like a Star Trek bar fight for 80 minutes. You know, you do give a guy a beer, you know, and you do go just sort of this sort of sense of camaraderie that happens sans, you know, locker room bullshit, which I also love. I love that we kind of don't have locker rooms. You just kind of like you're on the field, you get out of your fucking sausage casing, jersey that is super hyper lycra, whatever. You need help out of it.
but if you're
All
me,
the,
you stand in nothing but your compression shorts for like a good 20 minutes where people are looking at you being like, oh, Daniel, please put on clothes. No one wants to see your belly hanging out and
yeah,
your
like,
butt in those
never
compression shorts.
enjoy my majesty.
Like, don't
I
you realize how many buffets I destroyed to get this belly?
Well, and you know what? Back to inter-team relationships. You know what I miss? I miss our pre night before carbo load, this thinly veiled gorging, where we, we go to sushi, all you can eat sushi, dude. I miss that so much. There is no sushi now. Like there's no all you can eat sushi now.
It is a travesty against nature. There's no all you can eat sushi now. But really, what I got to take you to before our next game together is all you can eat hot pot. I like it's hot pot is also really great.
Hot pot. What is hot pot, dude? Is that
Have
like?
you not had hot pot
I don't
before?
know if I have. I've had a lot of drunken eating, so I may have. I may have. But what is hot pot?
So hot pot is a dish. It's usually in China or Mongolia,
Okay.
and so it's really like you have a pot on the table with a broth in it, and then it's in the place I go to. It's all you can eat. You can just order in as much as you want each thing. You put it all into your broth, and it cooks in the broth, and you take it out and you eat it.
Okay. All right. I'm on
Uh,
board. That sounds fucking great.
and it's great. It's great. You're like, I want this and this and this. You can put it all in. You can just take all these spices and things, put it on top. I love hot pot.
Where's
And
your hot pot? Dan, how have we not done hot pot, buddy?
okay, obviously we're gonna have to do hot pot before our next game
Yeah.
together.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know when that'll be. Hopefully, like Beaver Bowl.
Yeah, like 24 hours before. Let the carbs do their
Glycogen into the liver.
glycogen. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
I'm the sober one.
Fucking glycogen and lactic stuff with hot pot.
Which is mostly like I've read studies on it. It's mostly not true. The whole like carb loading. Like if you're doing like something that's really endurance, but like for a rugby game, it's not really making a difference. Like really, you shouldn't avoid carbs. You should have like a healthy dose of carbs. But like eating more carbs is not going to help you play rugby the next day. That does not mean I will not keep doing it because
But
I will.
So much pasta, Dan.
You mean eating like 4 kilograms of pasta doesn't make me play rugby better? What is this?
It doesn't make me faster. Oh my god. Tremendous, Dan. Tremendous. Well, I think we're coming close to our end, and I gotta pee. that's exactly what it is. Every one of these fucking things, if it doesn't devolve into me getting too drunk to talk and having to pee, it's gonna. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought. So you know what? It's about that right now.
There is one topic we haven't broached yet. Do you want to? Like,
yes,
familiar and significant other relations in the sport? Because we both have had significant others involved in the team.
That's key. That's true. That does happen. If you're lucky or if you're not lucky, it depends. Right? It depends. I've only had luck, thankfully, but some folks it gets fucking weird.
I mean, I do. There was. Actually, I don't think I'm not. I don't think I'm allowed talking about that. There was a significant drama where we had to actually really do a lot of work because of significant other drama on the team. Actually, I think I can't talk about this. There's no non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, let's maybe not. Then we'll just play it safe. Things happen.
Fair enough. Things happen. Sometimes it causes drama, and sometimes there's a mysterious floating arm in photos because someone was photoshopped out because they really didn't want to be in it anymore. But their arm could not be photoshopped out because it's over a whole bunch of people. And and so, but the funny thing is, you can look through a whole bunch of things and you will never know what, if you look through every single Auto Wolf photo, you will not know what arm I'm talking about because it really takes some clear knowing that this is the arm. It's oh, well, that's not it because it's attached. No, wait, that person's arm is there. Well, it's attached to that. No, that person's arm is there. And you're like, there really is no one who's attached to that arm. It takes a second, even though I know exactly what I'm looking for. It still takes me a while to find the arm because I'm like, okay, there it is.
Well, we'll leave that undisclosed. So, I mean, clearly, as far as this topic goes, it can go either way, is what we're saying. People are people, is what I'm saying. Things happen. Things happen. It's either magical or maybe not. Sorry, I don't mean to be wrapping this up, but dude, I am about to piss myself. I really gotta pee.
Haven't you gotten to the maximum Zoom level where you can actually pee into a jug while you're doing a Zoom chat?
I'm tempted. I got bottles here, man. I'll leave. You know what? I'm not that hardcore yet. We're not there yet, but you know what? We're close.
Okay, so next podcast. We
Which
can get a play-by-play of how it feels.
Well, you get to hear. Yes, it'll be the next podcast is A Place for All Types. It's about inclusivity and the general family. Well, I mean, this was kind of like family, but where everyone can come into rugby, and that's what we're gonna talk about next week. And I'm trying to really wrap this up because, dude, I gotta pee.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to our second podcast.
Yeah.
I hope you had as much fun as we did because we had a hell of a lot of fun. I don't know if you know this, but Caleb is fucking awesome.
Oh, Dan. Fuck,
and
man.
I hope he also uploads this to YouTube because he is incredibly gorgeous. And I think everyone should deserve to be able to look at that face.
This is why.
Unless you're a neo-Nazi, in which case you don't deserve to look at that beautifulness.
Yeah. Don't fucking get this, man. Oh my. All right, buddy.
Well, go pee there, Caleb.
Thank you, everyone who's listening. I'm just thanking you, but thank you, everyone who's listened. I hope you like it, and if you don't, we'll make it up to you. Okay, it'll be great.
Yeah. Next one, we will be even more drunk.
Holy shit! Awesome. Alrighty, see you guys.
Bye.